I'm tired of this, man. I'm sick of worrying about lit cars. I'm sick of worrying about the government. I can't eat. I'm broke, nigga. I'm broke. And you got the power to change that, Kev. Nobody else. You.
So you want to save money, and I have 7 tips that'll help you do just that. These tips can range from anyone from a little kid who gets an allowance every week from his parents to anyone working a full-time job, part-time job. This tip can help anyone because no matter who you are and how much money you do have, you can always save more and be smarter with your money. These 7 tips I'm going to give you are very simple. Anyone can do them. It's nothing new or spectacular or difficult to do, and it's not a scam. I'm not going to ask you to pay me money to find out these secrets. It's just 7 very basic things that you know just haven't really applied yet. So like I just said, I'm not trying to scam anyone. This isn't a get rich quick scheme. So that will take us into our first step, and it is be patient. Saving money isn't an overnight process. It's not something that you just do for a little bit and voila, you have all the money in the world. Saving money is a process that goes on throughout your whole life. These tips I'm going to give you goes through your whole life. At every point in time, if you're alive, you're gonna have some sort of money and gonna need to save all that money, because you can't usually spend it majority of the time unless you're some billionaire. If you are, I don't even know why you're watching this video. So with that said, understand that you are going to be saving money over a long period of time, and you shortly will see the gains, but not right away. So step 1 is to be patient. Step 2 is to only eat what you really need. Now there's a lot of options out there of things you like Starbucks, Jamba Juice, going out to get ice cream, which is pretty inexpensive things if you think about it, but they do add up. Now let's say I'm being generous because there's people out there who eat Starbucks every day, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but let's just do the math. I'm gonna throw statistics at you guys so you guys have a better understanding. So let's say I'm being generous, you go to Starbucks 3 times a week, and the coffee is about what, $5? I don't go too often, but I would say around $5. Now that's $15 a week, which doesn't seem like much, and $60 a month. Still doesn't seem like that much, but it is more than $5. And at the end of the year, if you were to consistently do that, that's $720. Now to some of you, $720, you're thinking that's not a lot of money. But if you think about back to New Year's Eve, and as soon as that clock hit 12, imagine if your account was given $720. So think of it in that way of you could have saved this past year $720. So that's why I say step 2 is important, because it's eat only what you need. Step 3 sort of relates to it, and it's make a lunch. Whether this be work or school, always try to make a lunch when you can. You know, going out to the grocery store, buying your own stuff to make a lunch, it's going to save you a lot more money, and more than likely it's going to be healthy. Now this is the way you're going to save a lot more money than step 2. Let's go, for example, Chipotle. Everyone loves Chipotle. You know, who doesn't love Chipotle? If you don't love Chipotle, I don't know what to tell you. But everyone loves Chipotle. So let's say that's a little more, you know, you eat that a little more. So let's say 4 times a week. And you go to Chipotle, you get a burrito, and you get a drink. So that's on average about $10, which is me being generous because you could get chips and guacamole. I know some of you have to have your guacamole, but we're going to go with just the basics, and that's $10, which is $40 a week and $160 a month. Now that's starting to sound like a lot of money, and then when you turn it into a year, $1,920. So almost $2,000 what you could have saved by cutting it off a little bit less of going to Chipotle and making a lunch. So it's a way healthier choice to make your lunch instead of going out and eat, and you save $2,000 a year on average if you just do that. And that's only 4 days a week. Some people eat it more than that. I'm trying to be generous on my numbers so you guys get a good idea of it, because I could easily say the most, but I'm going to be generous and say only a little bit of statistic. Now that brings me to the 4th step, eat at home. Kind of relates. It's basically the same thing. I don't have to throw numbers at you. Now this doesn't mean don't ever go out with your friends and eat, because I do that. I'm guilty. You know, I'm not perfect, but what I mean by eat at home is take advantage of it if you can. So if you're hanging out with friends and they want to eat, by all means join them. There's nothing wrong with it. But the times where you're not with your friends, take advantage, eat at home, you know, save a little bit of money, and just think about all you'll be saving. You'll start to notice in your bank account that you have been saving money, not going out and eat all the time, because you can still eat cheap at home and it'll still be healthy for you and still good. There's a lot of things you could find for way less money. Now this brings me to step 5, clothes. Now, you don't always have to have the newest $500 pair of Jordans or be wearing the same clothes as Kim Kardashian. Good style can be cheap. It's very easy to find inexpensive clothes. You don't need the newest of everything. You don't need 40 pairs of shoes, 60 pair of high heels, 400 dresses. I know I'm exaggerating, but if you really think about it, you don't need that many clothes. For the most part, if you're hanging around people, they should love you for who you are and not the clothes you're wearing. So I understand you want to dress nice for yourself. People like to do that. I occasionally do too. But just understand that you don't need the latest and greatest, because the latest and greatest is going to put a hole in your wallet. Now on to step 6, research your purchases. And what I mean by that is look around. Don't be so quick to purchase it as soon as you see it. I know there's times where you want something really bad, but do a little bit of research. Go around the internet, go to different shops, different places, and see if they have what you want for cheaper, because chances are they're gonna sell it cheaper somewhere. So I'm not saying spend hours and days, but you could spend 5 minutes searching for something cheaper online, or spend an extra 10 minutes trying to go to 2 different locations, or even calling or looking up, because every place you go, every store has an online website. So that'll help you just search around, try to see what's the cheapest thing you can find. And just doing that little bit of research will help you save a little bit of money each time you purchase something. So with the last tip I can give you is tip number 7, and that's name brand. Now a lot of times companies will hike up the prices for name brand because they're very well known, and obviously if everyone knows the name it must be good, but sometimes that's not always the case. So I'll give you guys an example, the Beats by Dre. Everyone knows them. They're pretty popular headphones, and I would say they're pretty good headphones, but they're not good for the price. You can get Beats for $300, the over-the-ear ones, which is kind of expensive for the quality they give. Now, this isn't me knocking Beats, this isn't me being a Beats hater, whatever you want to say, but I'm just saying that for $300 you can get way better headphones. I personally did it myself. I'll put them in the description. I bought Soul Republic headphones that a lot of people told me after listening to them that they like them more than Beats. They're probably around the same quality, but for $150. And mine don't break. They're actually virtually indestructible, but that's a whole nother topic. But like I was saying, name brands will hike up the price just for the name brand. That's what you pay for. Also with number 6, this kind of relates. Do a little bit of research. Look around. Try to look up, YouTube videos like this one. Top headphones under this price or whatever. Or top headphones similar to Beats, or Beats versus... just little things like that, because just be aware that name brands cost more. You can find something just as good without the name brand and save yourself a ton of money, because I got the headphones for $123, and if I go online right now, the cheapest I can get Beats probably is around $250 brand new. So that's $120 for basically the same amount of quality, and my headphones can't really break, and the Beats can, which isn't a bad thing. A lot of things can break. But I'm just saying, going around and searching for it will help you. So stay away from name brands when it comes to overpricing, because they will do that and they take full advantage. So thanks for watching. I hope these tips help you in the future. If you have anything to say, let me know in the comments section. So I hope this helps everyone out. I wish I had these tips a couple years ago, but I'm trying to do my best to save money. So thanks for watching. Please rate, comment, subscribe if you're new. I'll catch you guys next time. Peace out.